Okay, so we are Perception Studios. My name is Tom Bagley, and today I'm covering game world, game chart, and controls and abilities.
My name is Sarah Hughes. I'm covering story, interface, and games.
My name is Bob. I'm covering audience and market research, gameplay, unique features, game flow, and bonus materials. Of course, Jasmine isn't here, so we cannot cover enemies and bosses, but see the concept of the full sort of perspective that she had.
So our game is called Biocell. We've gone for a post-apocalyptic survival game with the visual style photorealistic. We think this is the best visual style because it adds the most realism to our game. We've gone for an adventure survival type game because it's the most popular at the minute. And we've gone for an asymmetric viewpoint because there's not many up-to-date games out there at the minute, so we can add new mechanics that came out and up-to-date graphics. And we've gone for similar games, so obviously Fallout, Mad Max, and so on. Our story of the year is 2050. There's 3 different levels. Level 1, which is where you're going to be starting out at, and the easiest, all the way up to level 3, which will be the end game of the story. He plays the role of a Biocell astronaut who is returning to Earth, and they are the equivalent of us, so to find out the world is going to chaos. And you have to find out why your company is turned against the world, and you have to find a cure for the boss.
Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 main game worlds in the game. So you do have a 4th as well, but we're not going to release that just to kind of give people a little bit of stuff to discover if they do go buy the game. So our first game world is the spaceship. This is mainly going to be used to help progress the story and start the story and give you a dialogue of what actually has happened in the past. So to give you an idea of what it's looked like, it's big enough for 2 people to live in for extended periods of time, because this is in orbit at the start of the game around the planet. Includes living quarters, command model, and science labs, which all have relevant objects in each area. In this level, because it's mainly just to give you an idea of how the story is and what has actually happened, there are no enemies present. And yeah, this is available as a separate map, so once the story has begun and you go to the main map, you won't be able to revisit it in its current form. Here we have a interpretation Jasmine, what she has looked at. This isn't going to be at the proper game view, this is just concept art for what you might expect. So a second game area world, this is part of a whole map where you can visit at any point during the game. So you can crash land back into Dallas. As you can expect with a wasteland type of game, all the buildings would be like in a battle state, so it'd be worn down, rubble all over the place and collapsed buildings. There will be enemies in this level, as this is part of the main map. So enemies such as rebels, mutated animals, and mutated humans. This is just dotted around the city. There's just a random generation of where they actually spawn. Also around the city there's hints of actually what actually happened. This isn't any relation to the story, but if you actually pay attention around the city, you can take in hints from old TVs playing music and old newsreels and stuff like that. So this is kind of what you should expect in a post-apocalyptic city. This is, again, Jasmine's interpretation of this, and this is what it would like if you were in the first-person view, but we are in an isometric view, so a similar sort of style with rubble on the floor, but just a different perspective. So our third world that I'm going to tell you about is the headquarters of Biocell. This is located in the southwest corner of the map. Now this can be visited right off the start, but you won't actually be able to progress through the story. The story is a set list of things that you have to do. So again, passing inside the building could be collapsed because this is the company that kind of instigated all of the post-apocalyptic in the first place. So people are going to be attacking it, angry at it and whatever. The Biocell logo is spread across the walls as you would in like a science lab. Tables and desks piled up in front of doors just to help stop people from getting in. This is where the main story will actually end. However, after this is ended, you will still be able to go around the map and do what you please. This is where the final boss is present, which is how the game ends. So we have a little interpretation here. You can see the desk piled up in front of the door on here, and also the logos on the wall. Again, this is from a first-person perspective, but the same sort of style will be used in the isometric view of what you need to do.
Okay, so moving on to market research, we decided to ask ourselves what makes our idea and our game viable. For a start, we decided to release the game on Steam, PC. We chose this because it's sort of the benchmark platform for PC games. We think PC gaming is on Steam. We also looked at things like graphs, and 62% of people use a computer as opposed to 52% console. So we saw the PC as an easier and more beneficial alternative to releasing on a console. And we think this will provide us with the largest audience possible. We've also decided to release it purely English, but release it in a global sort of. So you can have it in a country like India, for example, but it will be strictly in English. Because it was easier for us, because we speak English and we can develop the game in English, and we don't have to waste money, time, translating the game. Moving on to audience research, we also asked ourselves who's actually going to play the game. If you see at the side there, we sort of found out that the range of 16 to 35 makes up the most sort of largest portion of gamers. And we decided to start with 16 and have it end at 35 as our age range. We decided to not go for 18 because the violence wasn't really. We didn't really have anything that would sort of benchmark it as an 18 game. Having it lower at 16 gives us a wider audience. As you can see from the chart.
So we do have our Gantt chart, however, with printing those this morning we weren't able to print it off and show you, but we do have one and it shows clearly where we should be in the time frame, and it also shows us what actually tasks we should be doing in what week, and clearly shows, if anyone can look at it, it will say what week we should be in and what we should be doing by that task. So we do have a few character abilities. This is also a mood board here as well with different character designs. Different character abilities include a punch, a kick, a flying kick and a dodge. These will be used just as a random selection through fighting. You can't really choose which one you use unless we talk about it later about modding and having different keys actually do different things. We have a special punch and a special kick. Now these are activated through a charge-based system, so throughout fighting enemies you get like a skill point, and the more skill points you get, you build up the system and it'll activate. It's only activated for a certain amount of time, but it does do added damage and a quicker attack as well. So for our character controls, we are going to have a cover system. This allows us to take cover behind walls, rubbish piles, and anything that really you think will be able to protect you. Our melee combat system is the same button as you would for shooting, which you do have quick 2 controls in a minute. So if you don't have a weapon on there, it will default to using a melee system. However, you can also switch to melee or switch to yourself if you feel like melee is the way to go. The melee specials, which we've just previously spoken about, you can add a custom switch through modding. So a mod in the future might allow you to do that, but right off the bat it will just be a default attack. So the shooting system is auto ammo pickup, so if you walk around ammo it picks it up automatically. And also weapons, however you don't have to use the weapon, you can drop it and you can switch back to melee if you feel like it. So here we have 2 pictures of controllers of what buttons will do what. So like I say, we have got a fire button which is the right trigger, so this will be melee if you don't have a gun you can use it.
So gameplay features. We decided to sort of have an RPG weapon and armor system, and this will be so you can pick up different pieces of weapons and armor that will act differently. And you've got a metal chest plate that have extra protection against attacks, and different weapons will affect different armors differently. So as I said before, if you use a knife against them with a metal chest plate, it's not exactly going to do anything. So we want to try and recreate that inside the game. And weapons can also be modded and upgraded, use sights, stocks, things like that, just to sort of add a level of customization. And also, it can make your weapons better, get better chambers, things like that. Weapons are also deteriorate and use damage as you use them armors with as well, so you have to find resources to repair them and constantly sort of keep up with repairing your weapons and armor. We also have the cover system as concept before. This also ties into a stealth system. So as you're hiding behind an object in the environment, also shields you from bullet fire. And also if you're hiding behind something, you're out of the line of sight of an enemy, so you can sneak around them and they won't be able to notice you. We've also got some unique features. We've also got an in-depth sort of building system with an immersive and emotionally based storyline. We sort of want it to be because the gameplay is sort of, you want to try and focus more on the storyline. It's a complex but enjoyable combat system, and as I said before, we're releasing on Steam, and Steam is this really good feature in Steam Workshop, which allows you to easily integrate and upload modifications to the game onto this sort of system. With sort of random events, which are walking along, something will happen, an explosion, things like this, fights can break out randomly. And also random locations of where you can find the government official, which is a boss fight, which we will iterate on the slides. Of course, as Tom said before, printed malfunction this morning, so we couldn't print out gameplay, which would be a physical copy, to show how the game would go.
This is our interface, the main menu, just a quick placeholder we put in. It's so players can, that's what you typically expect from a main menu. Players will recognise and just go straight into the game. This is our interface, our main interface. Like I said before, people are familiar with it. You've got your hotbar down there to quickly switch between weapons, bandages. You've also got your health bar, so you can use the cover system that we've got in our game to quickly help you and cover your health. Your armour, so you know damage your armour, so you can repair. Same with your we've got a 2D radar, which is known as a mini-map, so quick navigation around the world. It's easier to look around the world from a time view. We've also got quick icons, say pops, your keyboard's not working, or if you don't like using keybinds, you can use your mouse to so you've got all the gear, we've put the gear into the inventory together, so it's easy to, you can just, if you find the one in the world, you can just quickly go from your inventory, drag it into your armour. Speak about health bars if you want help.
As a bonus material, we decided to sort of down the line after production release, give the players extra material. We want to try and aim it to be free. If you're getting free content and free material for a game, you're more than likely to enjoy that content and enjoy the game more. Alternate looks and outfits, things such as the player, all their weapons. These are just purely cosmetical skins that we might release for maybe 20p each or something like that, just for extra income to us, but also the player to feel as if they're making their own character and customizing their own things within the world. With the free expansions, we might also release new areas and quests, so it gives sort of breathes a fresh bit of life into the game, and new areas that are different to sort of the main area that we're stuck in. Because Jasmine's not here, I'm going to try and briefly go over the enemies. We've got the human survivors, which are just people that sort of miraculously survived the virus and sort of the earth. These just be normal people, for the most part they'll be friendly. These are the sort of people you expect to be interacting with, trading, quests, things like this. We also find mutated animals, which is a bit of concept out there. These would be ferocious sort of feral animals that just roam around doing what they want. And with the mutated humans, these two would be both hostile to the player. Human rebels are sort of like the survivors, where they have survived, but they've formed their sort of own closed cult and will be hostile towards the player and the general population of the human survivors. Okay, so also for Jasmine here, we have the bosses. First boss is the rebels, self-explanatory. He will lead the rebels sort of group. They will be inside an encampment, you have to go in and fight them. The second boss is the government official, and we've decided to put him as sort of a roaming boss, where you can find him in random locations, so you actually have to go around. Instead of going to a fixed location, you have to look around and actually spend a couple of hours looking for him. We also have the final boss, which will be the president of Biocell, the person who did this in the first place, and you sort of want to exact revenge on her.
Cutscenes, Jasmine did this, I'm trying best to cover it. You've got 4 main cutscenes throughout the game. The first one's going to be the introduction to the game and the first load in the game. The second one will be the first boss fight, which will then proceed you onto the next level, as I explained at the start of this 1 to 3 levels. Same with third and fourth will be the final boss fight and will end the story. You can carry on the game if you finish the story. So,
okay, so we do have some concept art that we managed to get from Jasmine. We have the rebel leader there on the left. He is, like Luke said, the leader of the rebels who you have to fight to progress the story. You do have to beat each one of these because these are the bosses that you have to progress the story and get on to the next level. So you have the general there in the middle. He will spawn in a random location within a certain quarter of the map, which we are not releasing just to kind of keep it a secret. And then the person with the Biocell, who is the guy who actually used the toxins on the world to make it into a post-apocalyptic world in the first place. So do you have any questions?
Thank you very much.